how do you build relationships with total strangers? Someone you want to do business with, someone you want to network with, someone you want to collaborate with. It's all about adding value, right? That's something we throw around a lot in the marketing world, right? So, what is adding value? So, in Brian's solo episode this week, and sorry, I forgot my jacket with the elbow pads, my little professor jacket. So I'm gonna have to go thrift shopping for Christmas here. Get one of those fancy jackets now. I'm kind of jealous. I actually don't have one yet. Or do I have one? Maybe I have like 10 professor jackets. Anyway, so Brian in his solo episode talked about messaging, right? So it's all about messaging and knowing who you're talking to. As I always say, know your audience, right? So in that episode, he had a message that's focused on solutions and building genuine relationships with people, right? So how do you get your foot in the door with someone, even if it's someone you're not really trying to sell to? Like whether you're selling the Liberty philosophies and principles to someone and Liberty solutions to political issues, or if you're just trying to build a relationship with someone, if you're trying to collaborate with someone, with an influencer or other podcaster, right? How do you get your foot in the door? And it's all about building relationships or adding value to those relationships. So how do you add value? So a couple of these will come from the book Jab, 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 Right Hook from Gary Vee, right? And it's basically entertainment, education, utility. But I added a couple more to these. So I have 5 ways you can add value to develop relationships and get your foot in the door, right? So the first one that I'm going to go over, this one, I call it community building. So especially in the Liberty movement, oh man, community building is massive, right? So building a genuine, authentic relationship with your local community. And it should be with, so you have 2 communities, right? As a creator, as a candidate, whatever it is, you always have 2 communities. It's the actual community that you serve. So if you're in a county, a city, right, where you're running for election or something, you're serving that community and adding value to that community. And then you're also adding value to your industry, right? So the industry would be the Libertarian Party, the Liberty movement, right? So you're trying to add value to that community and your actual local community. So what are some things you can do for your local community? At least organize volunteer events, right? Go out with other libertarians or other like-minded people and go volunteer, right? I used to be part of this church in South Florida where we would go every first Saturday. We call it First Saturday Serve, where we'd go volunteer out in the community. And we get so many volunteers eventually where we had like 5 or 6 different projects. And when the volunteers showed up, or even in advance, they could sign up for one of the 5 or 6 projects. So of course, you're going to start small. You're going to start with one project, but that could become a big thing, right? So do a quarterly served community or a monthly served community and go out and actually be active in the community that you want to try to help and reach out to. And then the other thing is collaborate with local businesses, right? Figure out how you can promote local businesses. And then if you're building a real authentic connection, they're just going to promote you already without you even asking. You don't even have to ask, right? If you're really pouring a lot into that relationship. And if you're a content creator, a podcaster, or you're part of a local libertarian party, I talk about it all the time. We should have a local LP podcast or YouTube channel or something. I'm part of the Orange County, Orlando, Florida LP, and just brought it up in the last meeting that we should start a YouTube channel. So that's on our agenda for next month, for old business. I'm writing a proposal now for the YouTube channel, what that's going to look like. So maybe I can create a template proposal that y'all can present. So if anybody's into that, is interested in wanting something like that, feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube video, and I'll be glad to share that with y'all. A little proposal on creating a podcast or YouTube channel for your local LP. If you're in the event space, you're posting events, right? Why not host a local food truck event or a farmer's market, community art fair, right? Create events for the community. It doesn't have to be big, elaborate, expensive events. You can just do small scale events where just a bunch of local businesses and vendors or artists working together to put on a really cool art event for the local community, right? So community building, first way to add value to your community and your industry. The next way to add value is entertainment. That's pretty straightforward, right? You're putting out something that's entertaining to people, whatever it is, right? If it's a genre of entertainment, whether it's a political podcast, whether it's a political YouTube channel, you're also a musician and you're creating liberty-minded music, something very specific. There's definitely more of a need for that. I have a Twitter list on Twitter that's all Liberty musicians, and that list is not very big, right? I could use a bigger list for that. So if there's any artists out there that are in the Liberty space, definitely reach out to me. I would love to add y'all to that list and connect with you, maybe even have you on the podcast. That'd be so much fun. So entertainment is the second way to add value to relationships, right? And of course, art is subjective, right? So entertainment does fall in the art sector. So it's going to be subjective. Some people are going to love it. Some people are not going to like it. I always say there's people that are giant fans of the Beatles, and then there's some people that don't really care about the Beatles, right? It just is what it is. So just because you're creating entertainment and you're creating art doesn't necessarily mean it's going to add value to everybody, right? So you have to create art that's for a specific niche, for a specific group of people. So since we're in the Liberty space, creating art that's specific for the Liberty space and entertaining to that world, would be great, right? And just constantly work on your craft to become a better artist, better creator. If that's your way of trying to add value to relationships. The next one is education, and I feel like that's what Brian does amazing here on the Brian Nichols Show, right? So education is another way to add value. We're on this podcast, we're teaching you how to sell and promote liberty, right? That's our educational or adding value to our community, right? To our Liberty podcast community. So education, people are always looking to learn something, whether, again, if it's through podcasts, YouTube channels, if it's through a blog, right? Or putting together checklists or tutorials. I mean, that'd be a great way to even collect email addresses from people. So people love to learn. So education is a third way you can add value. The fourth one is utility, right? So the definition of utility is the state of being useful, profitable, or beneficial, right? So utility, I also call this convenience, by making something just a lot more convenient for someone. So if you wanted to network with someone, right, maybe like they're coming into a city or to a conference that you're going to, maybe go a little bit early and offer them to give them a ride, right? Maybe someone you've already connected with online or over email. There's a little bit somewhat of a relationship there, but you haven't had the opportunity to sit with them. They're going to this conference, they're going to be busy. Offer to meet them at the airport and give them a ride to the hotel, right? And have 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes to talk during the car ride. A little creepy, but if you have a decent enough built up relationship in the beginning, that could be a way you could add value through utility, right? So technically, usually when it comes to utility, right? So it's always things convenience. How can you make something more convenient for someone? If I pick up this phone, I can now press a button and someone's going to pick me up with their car. That's super convenient, right? I can press another button and someone's going to deliver groceries to me. That is utility as well, right? That's convenience. So something that will make someone's life easier. And then the last way to add value is co-promotion, right? So co-promoting other businesses, working with other businesses and co-promoting each other. So you're adding value to that business that's within your community. You're adding something of value maybe to their customers, and they're adding something back in value to you, right? So an example of that would be, I did a concert with a band called Enter the Haggis. They're an Irish rock pop band. They have a really good song. I'm mixing it up now with another band called something called Russell Crowe. I punched Russell Crowe in the head or something like, or Russell Crowe. Anyways, long tangent and not relevant. But Enter the Haggis was the band. So what we did, they played a concert in downtown Orlando, and right down the street from the venue was an Irish pub. So perfect place to promote an Irish band, right? So perfect place to collaborate with, have them post some tweets and some posts on Facebook, have them send some emails out to their customers, and if us vice versa, help promote the business, right? So what we did with them, they put up posters, they put up a bunch of posts. We put up posts that this business is promoting this event, and then what we also organized, the band after the show showed up at the Irish pub, right? So it was kind of a free after party. We paid for the band's food to come to the Irish pub. The Irish pub helped promote it, and the band was aware with this. They agreed to this, and a bunch of fans came to the pub. So not only did we co-promote each other, but we got some customers from them that came to the concert, and then we had some fans from the show go to the Irish pub and eat some food there and drink a lot of beers and have a really, really good time, right? And then the last way to add a value did I say I had 5? Looks like I have 6, huh? So community building, entertainment, education, utility, promotion. It's been a long day. I've been teaching all day long, and I'm cranking out this quick little solo episode for y'all. But anyway, so there's a 6th one. We'll call this a bonus. But the 6th way to add value, currency, right? So I didn't say money. I didn't say dollars, right? I'm not going to say fiat currency, just currency, whatever currency someone is willing to accept. So that could be US dollars, which is useless, or I'm just kidding, or it could be cryptocurrency, right? If someone would rather have Bitcoin or Ethereum, if you were going to pay me to do some content for y'all. Pay me in Ethereum or Bitcoin. I'd rather have that than fiat. Or if you're collaborating with an influencer, let's say an influencer from Twitch. I'm really into the Twitch platform right now. I'd love to do an episode with Brian on Twitch down the road, and how Liberty podcasters could actually utilize Twitch to actually monetize their platform a whole lot faster, right? Because a real quick side tangent on Twitch. The great thing about Twitch, you don't need a lot of people to monetize your channel, right? So if you're doing a podcast, you need about, let's call it 2,000 to 3,000 downloads per month to start having the conversation with potential sponsors, right? Ideally, probably 5,000 plus. So I distribute my podcast through Libsyn, and on Libsyn, I need at least 5,000 plus downloads per month to even get that conversation started, to having sponsors on my shows. But on Twitch, you need 50 followers, right? And then your account gets upgraded, and then now you can have a paid account. So these 50 followers can now pay you for subscriptions. They can give you tips and do all kinds of stuff. So on Twitch, really, if you can have 50 to 100 people that follow your channel, you could already start monetizing your podcast on Twitch. So that's a really great way to make some money sooner than waiting to have those thousands of downloads. And then the reason I went to Twitch is on Twitch, they have a currency. It's called bits, right? So bits is the currency on Twitch. So you tip your musicians or your podcasters or your gamers with bits. So that's the currency, that's value over there, right? So maybe someone will do something for you or do a collaboration with you if you pay them in bits. So whatever the currency is that they prefer. So that's the last way to add value. So just to summarize real quick, right? Community building, getting involved in your local community and in your industry. Then you have adding entertainment value, so being a creator. Education, teaching somebody something. Utility, so creating convenience for someone. Co-promotion, and currency. Those are 6 different ways you can add value to relationships and start developing those relationships with whoever you're trying to build relationships with. So I hope this was useful. Thank you all so much for listening. Signing off for the Brian Nichols Show. And as I always say, go spread love, positivity, and kindness in the world and live the life you love. Peace, everyone.
Thanks for listening to The Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.